Welcome to Healing Out Loud with Gina Lynn. This is a space for honest conversations about neurodivergence, trauma, healthcare, advocacy, and healing. If you've ever felt dismissed, misunderstood, or alone in your experience, you're in the right place. Thank you for being here. Let's start healing out loud together. Today I want to talk about something I think is the center of so many bad healthcare experiences for neurodivergent people. And that is this. Sometimes when we say, I don't know, that actually is the answer. It's not because we're refusing to answer, or because we're being difficult, or because we don't care. It's because we genuinely do not know how to explain what we're feeling. And that's a real problem. I want to be very clear about something in this episode. I am not trying to sugarcoat this. I'm not trying to make it sound prettier than it is. The truth is, some of us are very bad at explaining our symptoms. Very bad. And I say this as someone who lives it. I am very bad. I struggle to explain what I'm feeling because a lot of the time I don't fully understand what it is I'm feeling in the first place. And I cannot explain what I don't understand. That's the problem. That's where everything starts to break down. Because in healthcare, people ask questions that make sense to them. You know, what kind of pain is it? When did it start? What makes it better? What makes it worse? Is it sharp, dull, burning, pressure? Does it move? Does it come and go? And you know what? Those are fair questions. They matter. I understand why medical professionals ask them. They're trying to figure out what's wrong. They're trying to gather information. They're trying to help. This isn't about blame. It's about the reality that some of us do not know how to answer those questions clearly in the moment. Not because we're exaggerating, not because we're a bit, being dramatic. It's because we're trying to translate sensations, discomfort, pain, fear, confusion, and overwhelm into language that makes sense medically. And that's hard. Sometimes it's very hard. Sometimes it's actually impossible in the moment. Sometimes I know something's wrong, but I can't tell you exactly what is wrong. I just know something's not right. And I know that sounds vague. It sounds incomplete. It sounds unhelpful. But it's still true. And I think this is where so many neurodivergent people get into trouble in healthcare. Because when we cannot explain ourselves clearly, people may not understand the seriousness of what we're trying to say. And then there's another problem. If someone keeps pressing for an answer, eventually we're going to give you one. But it's not going to be because it's accurate. It's going to be because we felt pressured to respond. Because silence feels uncomfortable. We want to cooperate. Because we know they need the information. Because we are trying. So we say something, anything, the closest word we can find, the closest description we can come up with, the closest answer we can force out. But closest does not always mean correct, and that matters. Because an inaccurate answer can send everything in the wrong direction. If I describe something badly, that can affect how I am understood. If I guess wrong, that can affect what gets considered and what gets dismissed. If I answer under pressure, it may sound like I know more than I actually know, and that's dangerous. And this is why I keep coming back to communication, not blame. Communication, because this is not about attacking healthcare professionals. It's about recognizing that some patients truly struggle to explain symptoms and body sensations in a way that medical professionals can easily understand. I mean, heck, we don't even understand it. How are we going to make you understand it? It's a real problem. And if we know that, then we can do something about it. That is where education comes in. That is where preparation comes in. That is where written notes come in. That's where giving people more time comes in. That's where asking questions in different ways comes in. And that's where, learning to bridge the gap actually comes in. Because the gap, it's real. And when people pretend it's not real, nothing gets better. I think one of the biggest misunderstandings is this idea that if a person cannot clearly explain their symptoms, then those symptoms must not be serious. But that's not true. Sometimes the inability to explain the symptoms is part of the problem itself. Sometimes confusion is part of the experience. Sometimes overwhelm is part of the experience. Sometimes there's not yet words for what is happening. And I really want people to hear that. Not having the right words does not mean nothing is wrong. It just means the person may need another way to communicate. For me, writing can help. If I can slow down, think, and put things on paper, I often communicate much better than I can out loud in the moment. Because speaking in real time, especially under pressure, is hard for me. Writing gives me time to process, time to search for the right words, time to notice what I actually mean. And I know I'm not the only one like that. A lot of neurodivergent people communicate better when they are given time and another format. You know, that matters in healthcare a lot. Because when the stakes are high, communication is not a small issue. It can affect outcomes. So when I talk about this topic, I'm not saying doctors should stop asking questions. I mean, they should ask questions. Questions matter. What I'm saying is that some of us may need help answering them accurately. We may need time. We may need support. We may need to write things down. We may need a support person with us. Sometimes your better half can be your best advocate because they know you. And what you're having trouble getting out, they've lived with and they've seen. And they can advocate for you. I mean, take them with you. Don't be embarrassed or ashamed or anything. Lots of people do it. And it can matter. We may need a support person with us. We may need the question asked another way. We may need to say, I don't know yet, but here's what I do know. And honestly, that's part of what I want this podcast to be about. Learning how to communicate better, learning how to prepare better, learning how to advocate better. Not because we're failing, not because healthcare is the enemy, but because there's a real gap, and gaps can be bridged. That's what I care about. I want neurodivergent people to have words, to have tools and strategies that help make medical communication easier. And I want healthcare professionals to better understand that not every patient can explain symptoms in the same way. That kind of understanding could change a lot, maybe even everything for some people. So if you're someone who has ever sat in a medical appointment and felt your mind go blank when they asked what should have been a very simple question, I want to say this clearly. You are not alone. If you have ever known something was wrong but could not explain it well, you're not alone. If you've ever walked away frustrated because you said something wrong, or not enough, or something you did not even mean, you're not alone. And if you've ever said, I don't know, when what you really mean was, I do not yet have the words for this, you're definitely not alone. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope something in this episode helped you feel seen, understood, or a little less alone. Your voice matters. Your experience matters. And you deserve to be heard. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself, and let's keep healing out loud together.